Hey people, I'm going to look at a couple of these symbols here before I get to reading. I say all the time that nobody can read the ancient Hebrew or Greek. And I know it's not true, but I feel safe saying it because if anybody can read it, they're not going to say. And I see signs all the time that more people can read it than what I was thinking. And I see it when I go searching for art that's being described in the Bible. And I find some of this art is newer than what I was expecting. But this is ancient knowledge. It's been going on at least 12,000 years. And it's still being drawn up. And you can see it in the White House. And they put codes all throughout these buildings. So when you could look at the designs and you could tell if somebody understood. And you could tell which school that they learned in. So in the most ancient form of magic that we know, was King Solomon and Solomon's seals. And he knew the most powerful magic was put on the money. And the way this magic works, they start with something of value, silver and gold, and they put impression in this. And they get you used to seeing this impression. And then for your convenience, they change it up. And they take your silver and gold and replace it with paper. Ancient history, been going on forever. You can see it here, it's got the sign of the elders, the 20. The atonement for money, and spoke Yahweh to Moses, saying, when you take the census of the sons of Israel for their number, then shall give every man a ransom for himself to Yahweh when you number them that know there may be among them plague when you number them. And this shall give what everyone among these who are numbered half a shekel, according to a shekel of the sanctuary, whatever the hell that means. So this is where your word spell comes from, the spell. And it's the spell in shekel, the spell in the money. And so the first spell in the money is Osiris, the 20. And so Solomon put his name right here up on the $20 bill. It stands out in front of everything. And it's right out here in front in the gable. And it says Solomon, plain as day. And so you'll find that the White House was designed by an Irishman. And in this dental work here, this is called a gable. And so gable, every time it says the borders of Israel, it says in the gable. And so in the gable, you're going to count this dental work. We call this dental work. It's like teeth. And you're going to see the moon rising for 14 days. The moon's going to rise. And the moon's going to fall for 14 days. And they put the dental work closer together on the bottom. This is the sun. And you're going to have 30 days. And so you have the sun and the moon. A month of the moon, 28 days, and the sun stays in each house for 30 days. So back in 1778, when they were still building this pyramid scheme, they were offering this piece of paper for 50 Spanish milled silver dollars. And this resolution passed by Congress. And these men were numbered in the red, in the old, in the Adam. So being this is an atonement for money, I figure it has to do with law. And so the first word, Y, the W-I is a Scottish word meaning how or who, and then a D, and means who would, apostrophe D, and who would breathe. And that means the same thing in every language. It's an alternative form of breathe used in Scots law. And its symbol is this little moon that put up there. And they'll say it means it's how the vowels pronounce. But it's used in music, and it's where your word abbreviate come from, and brief. It means quickly when used in music. It means brave. The braves are the ones that run out in front quickly, out in front of the war. You see it used in this Russian language. And in law, it's used for any writ or precept under seal issued out of any court. In music, it's all brief, all quick, and a quick rest. It's ancient symbol. It was used in the Akkadian, in the Hittite cuneiform, and in Egyptian hieroglyphs. And so I don't see it like this in the Greek or the Hebrew, but I do see it in this fashion here. We see a clue in this Italian that it's an espresso half and half. And in Italian Christianity, it's an official papal document, less solemn than a bull, and obsolete as talisman amulet, which would be a seal, and historical, a document recording a business transaction, or an oath sworn by magistrates, or the statute of a commune. But it looks more like, any writ or precept under seal. So in the Hebrew, it looks like this, and you see it in some other Mediterranean language, in the Spanish, and they'll just say that it means to add a set of letters that aren't seen in the word, as in abbreviation. But I say it means to move this letter. When you read this ISR, you read it A, and you move this letter over again, RL, ARL, ISR, ARL. And sometimes you see it at the end of the word and hanging off, and it means to add the last two letters. So you would add the AL instead of just the A. So it says many things here, but on the top it says, who would seal in all from sell a more. And a more, that's a ancient word for pyramid. And all, sometimes they'll say this is God, which is the base word for God. And in the seal, in God from sell a pyramid. And it just means more, M-O-R-E, and sell a more, in the seal of sell a more. And so in the seal, a sits, and sits, C-S-I, the A-A becomes the I-A, and the sit-C, the atrusivin. And so an atrusivin is a atra and a 7, which are 7-7. The atra is the knife, the blade, the Z, and the 7 is also the Z, 7, the atra 7, the atrusivin. So this is the atra here. You see it here in the hand of Mut, or the mother, and sitting in the gable and holding the atra, which appears to be a 5-bladed safety razor. And so it would be used for editing, to cut out the hairs. I don't want to cut all of them, just in certain places. So when you read it with this other mark, it tells you to read this next word backwards and forwards. It's like a abbreviation. You just have to write 3 letters instead of ESMSE. Just 3 letters in this tack here. And so then it's in Hood Brevet, in the sealed document, in all ism. An ism is a belief. In all ism, to sell 'em more, and sell 'em the belief. And so in this seal of sell 'em more, it's to sight see, the sight see, atrusivin, the sight see atrusivin, the atra 7, the 7-7. And when you read it with this mark, it's at the Soros. It's where George Soros got his name, and it's where the word source comes from, at source, and it's sourcevin. And so this word Israel, it's, and if we just read it, the sight see, the atrosevin, is her oral, And so oral is still seen a little bit in the Scottish, but it was in all the languages. Everybody knew it. You see it, they don't have a page on any of these. But archaic, it was ancient, to engage service through the payment of earnest money. An oral. Oral, I give you my word, but an oral, I give you cash money. So this isn't an oral, this is just an oral. It just says on there, to the bearer on demand, $5 to be paid to the bearer on demand. This is not $5 worth of silver. It's just a note that says I promise to give you to the bearer of this note. It's payable to the bearer on demand. And so in ancient Egyptian, you might see it written like this. And that's what this means, is oral. And so this was the first covenant with Abraham. Or maybe not the first, there was a bunch of covenants. But the covenant of circumcision, that's the oral. An emul must be circumcised. He who is born in your house and who is bought with your money, and shall be my covenant in ritum by double B B Y by circum. That's where the word circumcision come from, and by circum liberate, to liberate, deliberate tolum. And the uncircumcised is the world, WRL, the rest of the world. And so when they were talking about this secret information, it wasn't writ, it was the oral and the oral to. And ensure the oral to when certain. And so before you talked about this, everybody dropped their pants to prove that they were circumcised. Only the circumcised got the information. And so took Abraham Ishmael his son, and all who were born in his house, and all who were bought with his money, every male among the men in the house of Abraham, to be circumcised, the flesh of their foreskin, to ensure the oral. And so there's another mark on top of this T, and this mark means the opposite. It means move the M to the other side. And the oral mit, the oral mitum, with them. And ensure the oral with them, the boxum. They say that means bones most of the time. It's from the box. What's in the box is the bones. And ensure the oral mitum, the boxum, and to hyam these, and cause rediver, at veilum. At veilum means to uncover, to veil, to take off or lower one's hat or crown. And Abraham was old 99 years when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In them loves her oral too. And so, if you get circumcised, it's because you love the oral. And so everything has multiple meanings. And it blows my mind how they keep in tune through the whole book with all the different markings to read it different ways. It always stays in line. And Enum loves the oral too. And so they'll say this mul is the base word for circumcised, but it's the mullet, and a mullet is that hairdo that looks like a dickhead, in the mullet, to ensure oral to. But it goes on and on about this, and it's always the bought with the money. The son of foreigner were circumcised with him. And the cusp, a cusp is a point. And the cuspum at been rocking. They've been rocking the criminal, what to. And so a criminal is like a criminal with a badge, a criminal, the government. And so a criminal would be Ishmael. And that's where Jews say they got the word moil from. And the moil is the criminal that cuts your foreskin. But it's actually coming from this old Celtic moil. And you see it spelled a little closer here. It doesn't have that Y in there, meaning bald. The shaven or the tonsured. And so that would be the old priest that just would shave the top of their head. And so that they were in, if they shaved the top of their head, you could talk about this with them. So in the age when most people are circumcised at birth, you'd have to have some other type of ceremony. So at the secret meetings, you could just veil. You could pull down and show everybody your mullet head. And so the reason everybody's circumcised at birth now is because there was a time when they were going around killing everybody that was circumcised. And that was the people that understood how to read the book. And that's why there's so very few today. And so they had all their congregation all get circumcised, so they couldn't pick them out at the public bath. And so all this you see going on, these people don't have no secret knowledge. They're totally lost. They just go through the ceremony the same reason that everybody's circumcised, so you can't see the difference. So let me finish this with this number 99 and show you where it comes from. You're pretty damn old if you're 99. And it's and ever them. And ever them bent. The BNT. And this is from old Egyptian. It's talking about the man walking with the cane. And ever bent so what's as in. And so this NE becomes the BE. And the B means in. Or you can read it as, then, as in. And Avram bent so what's as in them loves her, the oral too. And so bent, it means crooked, but it's also, a life of crime is somebody who's bent. And Avram bent so what's as be in loves her oral too. So you got all the same people running the world. You see it, all the symbols. You got the fascists and in the hand signals, and it's pointing at the big dick, the dictator. And they always got that foot sticking out there, to let you know who they are. And it plainly says Israel right here. And Israel's pointing out, this little of over here sitting out the way. But it's the state, the Sam Erica, the Sam forever ruler. Sam is Shem. And Erica, coming from the Old Norse to mean to rule forever. And so it's the det in, united, the set at states. Osirum, the 20, Osiris, the green god. The Osirum Erica, to rule forever. So I'm going to cut this off and I'll put it in a folder called the money spells, and I'll go back and start reading at Abraham. Good day.